this week's episode of One Piece, Luffy shows Momonosuke what it means to be a man, as they prepare to take down Kaido and all of the Shogun, who have taken over the Wano Kingdom. Just finding this week's episode of One Piece was kind of a struggle. I can't find it on Crunchyroll, it won't even play whatsoever. I'm guessing that this week's release of Dragon Ball Super has completely bricked the site. And you know what? This week's episode featured Great Saiyaman, so you can blame it all on Gohan. Overall, though, this week's episode of One Piece was okay. One thing that I really did like about it is that it displayed that while Luffy is not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer, he's a very inspiring character, and throughout most of this episode, all of the samurai, all of the leaders of the Mink tribe, and hell, the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates are willing to go out of their way to help out the Wano Kingdom in their struggle, because their kingdom has been completely taken over by the Shogun and Kaido and all of his beast pirates. Hell, the entire Wano Kingdom is on complete lockdown. No one goes in, no one leaves. However, while all of this is going down, Momonosuke is crying for like 90% of the episode. He just can't bring himself to raise his voice and speak about avenging his father. It's not until Luffy decides to refuse the offer of the samurai to help them out that Momonosuke decides to grow a pair. He's reminded of the horrific events of when Kaido murdered his family and burnt half of his country to the ground, and then he confronts Luffy, letting him know in a tearful voice that he wants to take down Kaido, but leave the head for Luffy. The episode ends with the Straw Hat Pirates, the Mink Tribe, and the Samurai preparing for their next grand adventure. The Mink Tribe even mentioning that they have a secret weapon. This is something that was not mentioned in the manga version, so hopefully this is a preview to something cool later on in the future, and this week's episode ends with some inspiring stuff. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? The best thing about this episode is Luffy himself. Like I said, a lot of the times he just comes across as a fun-loving goof, but there are always these moments where he's confronted by a very important side character and always manages to make a very strong bond with them. And you could have seen this sort of building over the last couple of episodes with all of the interactions that he's actually had with Momonosuke, and for him to actually bring out his inner manliness in this episode was pretty damned awesome. I really enjoyed that moment. It's something that in the manga version I didn't really care for, but with good voice acting and some great backup music, they can really make the scene seem all the more epic. That combined with all of the creepy flashbacks of Kaido surrounded by flame and fire as he's killing the frickin' Kozuki clan is just some really chilling stuff right there. But really, like I said, it's all about Luffy and Momonosuke this week. It's just one of those great moments that demonstrates why Luffy is going to be the king of the pirates, why he deserves that title, how he's able to bring people together and bring out their inner strength. Some pretty great stuff. But at the end of the day, though, this was a very slow episode. It didn't even adapt half of a manga chapter. It was okay at best, but it did feature some really grand events, so I do highly recommend that One Piece fans check out this week's episode. If you read the manga version, you can probably skip it, but for those who only watch the anime version, this is still mandatory viewing, so make sure to check it out. At the end of the day, though, it was a highly inoffensive episode, and it actually got me really excited for the future and all the big adventures that are to come, so I am going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5, although I do believe most people will consider this just kind of an average episode of One Piece. But still entertaining nonetheless, so make sure and check it out, One Piece fans. If any of you did watch the episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the future of the One Piece anime series. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe, leave me a like and a comment or two. I'd really appreciate it. I will see you next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.